Broadway singer, movie actress, television actress, recording artist, lesbian. These are all titles that many use to describe the one and only RENEÉ RAPP. Personally, I wouldn't consider myself the biggest fan of hers, but I like her. I know she's a blonde lesbian and I'm a straight Asian guy, but in all the interview clips I've seen of her, she seems pretty relatable. Not in the I'm gonna walk across the street and get a croissant kind of way, but in a rough around the edges, she's clearly not media trained and it's hilariously refreshing kind of way. I did a video on her debut album last year. Don't watch it. It's probably pretty bad. That's one thing about me is once I post a video, I'll like never watch it ever again. And anyone who thinks that this hair color looks good just should not be trusted. Look at my face, bro. I look like an orange. But anyways, I remember giving that album like a 7, I think, something around there. My biggest issue with it was that throughout all the fun one-liners and crazy vocal runs, it didn't seem to have a super clear tone or like sonic identity, if that's a thing that people say, probably not. So I liked it, but over time, I just kind of never listened to it ever again until today. With the release of her new single, Leave Me Alone, and the announcement of her second studio album coming out this August, I thought it'd be fun to take a look at all 2 of RENEÉ RAPP's other projects, talk about the good, the bad, maybe what we can expect from this new one. And yeah, you know, I've never listened to the EP and I haven't touched Snow Angel like since I made that video, so it should be fun, hopefully. Leave a like. Yes, thank you. All right, guys, enough. Please, enough. It's okay. God, I'm here. It's all right. I'm back. Sorry, I haven't posted in like a month. I've been really busy with college stuff, but now I'm officially done. College is over. I'm like done with college forever. So anyways, that's enough yapping. Why don't we listen to some RENEÉ RAPP? This is RENEÉ RAPP's debut single from 2022. I've never listened to it before. It's called Tattoos. The cover is her screaming. I had a really dirty thought. I'm not gonna say it, but she's screaming. Let's check it out. Okay, was not expecting like a piano ballad. Interesting. 22, I'm still scared of it all. Ooh, vocals. Oh, she's so good. She's so good. Okay, I'm sensing a big chorus right here. And I'll just be lonely. Ooh, very simple production. It's really just this wide piano scape, giving me like kind of Sam Smithy vibes, you know what I mean? Interesting choice for a debut single, especially in relation to like sound of like a lot of her other music. This doesn't really feel like a big representation of that, but they don't love me, they just wanna see me naked. Relatable. Trust issues, they're a real thing, man. They're a real thing. These backups, bro. You hear that high one? I can't even, yeah, you know. Okay, come on, Bridge. What you got? Bruh. Ooh. Oh, vocoder. Ooh, I like that. Almost kind of feels like a little teaser of like the sound that she eventually goes into, right? Because I feel like, I mean, I don't really remember Snow Angel. I haven't listened to it that much since making that video, but I know she used a vocoder a few times on that song just to give it a little bit more of like a techie, more modern, alternative feel. I think the song was good. I like some of the lyrics of the verses for sure. I think her vocals are great, obviously. But I feel like this song is kind of missing that extra oomph to make it like a really good debut single. My thinking is that a debut single should either be super radio with a really catchy hook and really fun instrumentals, or super jarring so it kind of throws people off guard, because your goal with it is to essentially establish an audience for yourself with just the one song, you know, so you can build hype for whatever project you release after that. And I'm not saying that the song isn't good, you know, the chorus is pretty good, instrumentals sound fine, and I can definitely imagine it being on the radio, but just like one of those songs that they put in between the bangers, you know, it's like space them out. For a debut single, you want your song to be the banger. That vocoder outro part really makes it for me, because not only does it contrast the sort of wider soundscape that we've had up till this point, but it just ends the song on like a colder, more isolating note that I feel like is really effective. It feels like she's been drained of all her emotion, and I just feel really sad listening to it. And also that like tattoos on the ankles line is pretty cool too. I like that part. If I were to rate it, let's do a letter grade. I think as a song, I'll give it like a B-. But as a debut single, I'd probably give it like a C, dude. Because I don't really know how she would expect to stand out with a song like that as her first one. Now, fast forward all the way to like a couple months later or something, when RENEÉ dropped her debut EP, Everything to Everyone. Now, this is our chance to really get to see what she's capable of. Ooh. Starting out with the harmonies. Although something about that, the way they're stacked. Ooh, vocoder. I was just gonna say something about the way those harmonies were stacked felt a little bit techie because it's like so perfect. You know what I mean? Ooh, that falsetto, man. She's so versatile. What can she do as a singer, bro? Oh my god. This is low-key giving like Raindrops intro vibes. It's just like because it's kind of basically, I mean, vocoder, but it's basically a cappella, right? And it's so simple. It's a nice little cute melody. Nice little short, quick song. It's giving Ariana Grande intro for sure. If I were to rate that intro, it probably would be the B. Okay, here we go. Right into In the Kitchen. Oh, okay. We're keeping the vocoder going. Interesting. Very subtle there, though. I like that. Oh. Oh, chest voice. Oh. The emotion, bro. Oh, it's like tugging on my heart right now, dude. Ooh, that's your first red flag, girl. I like that visual. 100 square feet of bittersweet memories. I just feel like that's like the most practical way of putting it. Ooh. Ooh, okay. Whistle tone. Ow. On this table. Ow, ow. Ain't it funny how time shows you? I really like how it feels like the chorus is like listing off all the cleaning up she has to do after the relationship, right? It's just these little like imagery things that kind of help you paint the process of moving on, moving over, like getting over someone in a way that's actually addressing like the practical things that you're doing. Not the internal stuff, but it's all the external stuff, like deleting the videos, playing piano, seeing the kitchen that you used to like play fight in or like cook in. I don't really remember. Stuff like that. I think it always is a really good recipe for a breakup song. The little tagline at the end of strangers to lovers to enemies is tough. Pretty tough. I can't say that I have any enemies personally. I try to end things on good terms. That's my energy. Always. Colorado. Shouts out to Annie. Shouts out to the Nuggets. We beat your ass in 7 though. Haha, losers. Thunder up, baby. Ooh. Ooh, okay. Getting a little bit summer drive vibes. They do apparently smoke a lot in Colorado. That's what my friend from Colorado says. What is the connection to Colorado? Ooh, okay. That little guitar. Ah, I love this kid. This kid's great. It's giving like a little bit of an alt rock vibe for sure. That kind of part of you that like has those aspirations, but at the end of the day, gonna stay right here. Let's be real. She's not a doer. She's a dreamer. Oh, wait. Let me rewind this. I'm talking over this beautiful outro. Ooh. Oh. The trade-off of the backups with her lead vocal. It gives this like overlapping sense of like piling on top of each other, which I love. Very Ariana Grande. Cute song. Again, don't really get the Colorado thing. I like the indie vibe. It's nice. This is the vibe that I like more from her. I'm not a huge piano ballads guy, if I'm being honest. I used to be. I used to actually really love piano ballads because I was just depressed. But now I like a good fun vibe. Even though this is clearly a sad song, the drum keeps the energy consistent, kind of upbeat. And that's my favorite type of song. Like I always say, trick me into thinking it's happy. My ears think it's happy. My heart knows it's sad. So I'm like depressed while throwing ass. You know, that's how it works. I'm like, you know. Next song is called "Don't Tell My Mom." Okay. Sweetie, will you come home? We're tracking your car. Okay, so I guess she's like acting as her mom. So don't tell my mom I'm falling apart. Yeah, I get that sentiment, you know. Wait till I'm home. Sad. Ooh, getting a little kick. Then pick up the phone. Ooh, that little ooh. She'll be alright. It's a sweet song, a nice little change up from the heartbreak stuff. This part where she kind of comes in acting like her parents, saying like, "Sweetie, when will you come home? We're tracking your car." I definitely get the pressure that you feel of like not wanting them to worry. Even if you kind of need to rely on them in certain situations, you're reluctant to because you know they're going to worry and you don't want to put that on them. It's tough. It's sad. Next song is called "What Can I Do?" Ooh, interesting. There's like a little bit of like a swing to that piano. I wonder if he notices the things that I can. Why am I like wanting to dance? But if it were me, I'd give you everything. Oh man. It's really sad. I've been there. I think a lot of people have been there where you feel like you're giving more to someone than they're giving you. Obviously, what she can do in that situation is end it, because bring it up or end it. Like that's kind of the only two options you have. But I understand the reluctancy to like not want to end it. The melodies didn't really stand out to me that much. If I'm giving it a rating, I don't know, like a B-. All right, this next song is her second most streamed song, which is interesting because I've never heard it before. All Too Well, maybe? Oh, it's like a xylophone, but it kind of feels like music box vibes. Ooh! Oh, 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 oh. Oh. Ooh, I like that. I like the way that hooks around. Relatable. I also be overthinking sometimes, man. I also be having good ass memory. Wow, interesting. Because this drum is so fat, right? You still hear that lingering xylophone too. Fat contrast there. I like that. Somewhere else. Oh, you hear those? Ooh, that's fire. That's fire. Oh my god. Ooh, 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 ooh. The little synth outro. Fire. Banger ass song. I wish I felt a little more bass going on. Just 'cause I feel like that would have really rounded out the production and made it like a banger that I could be like summer drive vibes, song of the summer. You know what I mean? But other than that, phenomenal hook. I love the way the chorus wraps around. Can't stop reminiscing. I don't forget too well. You know what I mean? It's nice that you're able to forget about me, but I don't forget too well. Damn. Anyways, this next one is called Moon. This is the last song on the standard version of the EP. Probably gonna be a sad joint. It's funny she has a song called Moon and then Gemini Moon, but I wonder what moon means here. Ooh. Oh, oh, that drum. Oh. Subtle vocoder too, okay. Feels like we're rounding out all our tricks. We have the indie drum. We got the vocoder from some of the earlier tracks. All coming together. It's family dinner. Ooh, interesting. Okay, so it's just Talking to the Moon by Bruno Mars. It's literally, okay. Ooh. It's a nice song. It's good. Obviously, it's very similar to the Bruno Mars song. That's fine. Let's move on to the last song. This is the bonus track off of the deluxe. So I'm expecting this to be a little more high energy. It's called Bruises, right? Okay, interesting. Interesting that she's ending this project talking about like, oh, I'm 22 years old or whatever. Snow Angel, she had that song 23. I think that was the last one of the album. Acetone for Veins. That sounds hella painful, dude. It's kind of true. Like, bruises can be green. Ooh. Ooh. Oh, the harmony there. The stacks too, come on. Oh, come on. Yeah, that was a pretty good song. That one felt a lot more vulnerable than I think 23 was. And I could kind of go to show like her growth, I guess her maturation and her like, you know, that song, she's talking about how sensitive she is. She bruises easily. You know, things people say affect her a lot. And now looking at the way that she portrays herself in the media, you can kind of see that she's kind of not grown past that. I'm sure she's still sensitive to a certain degree, but she's gotten thicker skin. Everything to Everyone is definitely a solid debut project. Renee gets to show her chops as a singer. The production is really consistently solid, if not a little basic at times. The hooks aren't bad. You know, I really don't have any big complaints. I think Colorado is probably my favorite song off the project. I just really like how she spends the first verse and chorus of the song fantasizing about this dream life in another state where all her issues and problems would just get magically worked out. But then she's like, yeah, no, that's not happening. And I really love the second verse. I know I won't. Who am I kidding? I'm addicted to the chip on my shoulder. I like it best breaking a sweat, so why go somewhere that's colder? Damn! Skip a little further to the second time the chorus comes around. She kind of turns it on its back, using all the reasons that she wanted to go as reasons that she probably won't or shouldn't. I'll choose the devil I know over the heaven I don't. Ouch. The trip, unfortunately, did not make it out of the group chat. And the outro is probably my favorite moment of the entire EP, because it ends the song off on this euphoric but kind of somber, daydreamy vibe, which really connected with me personally because it feels super reminiscent of that sort of directionlessness that you feel at this age, at my age. She was 22 when she wrote this song. I'm 21. twin them basically. The overlapping of those vocals, you know, the way they trade off, and it's just like so soft and breathy. Pretty gas. I'd probably give this EP like an 8. You know, I don't think there's a single bad song, and honestly, I think it sets Renee up for greatness. If I listen to this project without any preconceived expectations of her, I'm officially hooked. My only gripe with it really comes from the occasional basic song structure or, you know, a little redundant chorus. But I think the repeated use of the vocoder, you know, from song to song really gives this project some sonic cohesion. And that with the stacked vocals too, just gives it this like introspective framing. You know, you hear her so much. She's talking so much. I know it sounds stupid, but there's like 5 vocal tracks on every song. You feel like you're inside her head, you know, all her overthinking, all her thoughts. While all the songs touch on different topics, the clear connecting thread is her internal struggles. And I was honestly very pleasantly surprised. Good job, Renee. You made a good EP. Now, I'm not going to react to Snow Angel again because that would be kind of pointless. Just go watch my old video. But actually don't, because it's bad. So I'm just going to go through all the songs on the track list and give my new thoughts on them, you know, after listening to the project a few more times. Talk Too Much is a super solid opener, introducing a bit more of an indie vibe compared to the sound that she had on the EP, but snaps right into a kind of pop punky chorus, which is really fun. Probably my favorite chorus on the album, which kind of sucks because that would mean it goes only downhill from here. I think the angst that she portrays in this song is really fun. And, you know, the harmonies are super fire too. As someone that also overthinks everything and kind of has trust issues because of that, which has made it difficult for me to open up to friends or romantic partners, she kind of hit it right on the head with this one. I'm here again talking myself out of my own happiness. Like, ouch, but also, like, true. On top of that, the voicemail type soundbite thing that she uses for the bridge, where she's really just talking herself around in circles, is fun and works really well for that idea. You know what I mean? I Hate Boston is one of those songs that I listened to and kind of just assumed would be one of the most popular on the album because it plays into all the breakup pop power ballad tropes. And the vocals are kind of crazy too, but it's actually one of the least streamed songs on this album. So that's interesting. I don't know why I said that. Anyways, I love the idea of not being able to go back to the places that remind you of your ex, you know, when we're talking about breakup songs. I just feel like it's a really easy and simple and concise way of using imagery. The thing is, she already has a song that does this called In the Kitchen. It's the one that we listened to like a couple minutes ago. And I know it's different because this song is about an entire city and In the Kitchen is about the kitchen, but I actually think it kind of worked better on that one by reminiscing on all the stuff that happened in the kitchen, so you can almost imagine her flashbacks while you're listening to it, you know? I Hate Boston is very generic, particularly in the verses. I would have loved some lines about going to Celtics games or going to Fenway Park or going to Bruins games. I clearly know nothing about Boston other than their sports team. Paint an image in my head of why going to Boston is so hard for you. Like what you're seeing when you're in Boston that is making you be like, ew, no. Ew. Rather than just screaming, I hate Boston. You know, like there's no depth to that. But overall, the song is low-key a highlight for me because she just sounds so good on it. Like fun times that I have while she's singing. And those opt-ups at the end, oh, so dope. I'm trying to think like other words to say than good. Oh my god, those opt-ups are so sick. I also love her voice paired with like a pop rock production. I just feel like of all the sounds that she does on this album, and we're gonna get into it, there's a lot of different sounds that she uses. Pop rock feels like it suits her tone the most. I don't know, like it really reminds me of Hayley Williams. Not to put her in a box and comparing her to Hayley, but I'm just saying like I like it. So yeah, that ending slaps, but the song is just generic. You know, I really liked it in my original video. I don't like it anymore. I've become more of a snob. I need more depth. I need more. I need more Renee. Give me more. Poison is a song that I didn't really like last time because I was just so stuck on thinking that the hook was kind of corny. You know, poison. You're the worst. You could literally poison, dude. Like, you could literally poison. But now, it's kind of a banger, man. I mean, listen. It's not my favorite. I'm not going to listen to it that much. But I think the, like, flirty, you're so annoying, I hate you energy works so well on this song. The acoustic guitars, the la-la-las, it's easy, it's breezy. It's just, like, executed to a T. And juxtaposing that with the super harsh stuff that she's saying about this guy, like, you're the worst person on earth. I hate you in your guts. I hope you should just shut the F up and die. Plays into that playful, fun energy. You know, you take these exact same lyrics and you put them backed with like heavy metal instrumentals, the song gets a whole new meaning. And that's what I love about this album so far, is that Renee is clearly putting a lot of thought into how she's interweaving these song concepts, these song ideas and lyrics with the instrumentals and like the sound. It's not just whatever sounds good. It's not just whatever pairs nicely with the melodies. There's more nuance to it. Not a big fan of the bridge breakdown though. I just feel like it's kind of weird. But I really like the runs that she does in the ad-libs. Ooh, clean. So clean. Gemini Moon isn't bad, but I feel like it's another miss for me. Another great concept that is held back by its shallow lyrics. I'm not really a big fan of like the choppy TikTok lyric style where it feels like you're throwing a bunch of one-liners and, you know, quick, easy metaphors at the wall and hoping one of them goes viral for maybe like a dance or something. But I will say the toxic trait of blaming all your issues on your star sign is pretty funny, dude. In her defense, that's not really like a deep concept, so I kind of understand why the verses feel pretty shallow, but the chorus opens up in a really nice way, and I love the belts, obviously. There's only so much that stuff can do, you know? What if I told you that the title track Snow Angel is actually about drugs? You know, like cocaine, instead of actually making snow angels. Yeah, I don't know how I let that go over my head in the last video at all. But these lyrics now have so much more weight to them. Talking about the burning on the tip of your nose, making it through the winter, even if it kills her. Bro, the winter is the cocaine, and then the nose is because you use your nose. Duh. Wanna come say hi?
You're making a GoBo video.
No, this is actually RENEÉ RAPP. Okay.
Hello. Yeah.
Don't cough on my mic. Get away, 6 feet. Social distance, bro. Yeah, close my door too, actually. I don't want your air getting in my room. Angeling in the snow until you're worthy. Bars. Because I feel like that addresses how so many people will ignorantly assume that drug addicts don't know that drugs are bad for you. You know, they'll just be like, just don't stop doing drugs. Stop it. Stop doing it. In this instance, RENEÉ spends the verses talking about how she feels unfulfilled and insignificant, and she resorts to skiing as a short-term resolution for that. The pattern will continue until she feels worthy, until she feels better about herself. And if it kills her, she tried. The whole bridge to this song is wild, bro. If Talk Too Much had the best chorus, this song has the best moment of the entire album in the bridge. What I don't like is how it ties the sentiment of this song a little bit back to a heartbreak. I just feel like that's such a generic way of looking at it. As much as I love my heartbreak songs, all right? I was at Gov Ball last weekend, saw Olivia Rodrigo. Fire. I was belting Schrader at the top of my lungs. I'd prefer she left it a little bit vaguer, you know, just about like general depressive thoughts. But it still slaps. One of the best tracks on the album. The whiplash from this song to So What Now is insane. We went from an anthem about RENEÉ pulling herself out of her depression and her addiction to, oh, we're at the same party after we broke up. What do we do now? Oh. It's a cute song, but like, damn. It's kind of similar to the flirty energy of Poison Poison, but I feel like Poison Poison does better because it's like a little more obvious. So What Now has RENEÉ being kind of coy about it, but Poison Poison is her knowing that it's toxic, but that's like what kind of makes it fun. Definitely not relatable, because don't be toxic. Okay, don't relate to that song, actually. Okay, don't be kids, do not be toxic. So yeah, I don't really have any thoughts on it other than that. The instrumentals are okay, but the chorus kind of falls into this really generic, airy sound that I don't really mess with. The wedding song is a hard miss, brother. Take all my complaints about I Hate Boston with basically none of the redeeming qualities. You have the wedding song. Verse 1 and 2 are both completely redundant. They have very bland melodies and there's no progression to them at all. Yes, her vocals are good, but I don't really like how dull her lower register sounds on these verses, which is probably going to be my only complaint about her vocals on the album, because most of the time she's killing it. She sounds amazing. But here, I was bored. And the plucky strings in the verses are giving, oh, well, imagine. And yeah, you know, the idea of getting a little meta with it, spending the verses talking about, oh, I wrote you this really nice song, and then the chorus is that song, is not a bad idea. Like, plenty of songs do that. It just doesn't work if the chorus is mid, because then how are you going to spend all these verses gassing up a song, and then I hear the song and it's bad? She doesn't opt up at the end. That's kind of crazy, and it sounds good, but it's ruined by the lyrics just being mid. I'm gonna love you till my heart retires is not a bar, bro. It's not. On the bright side, there is a bridge. And it's probably the best part of the entire song. Overall, this is definitely probably one of her worst songs that she's ever put out. A new song that I discovered I really like is Pretty Girls, which is about, you know, those types that become bi-curious when they're wasted. There's a particular line where she says, I like a straight jacket, but this one feels a little tight. That is a crazy bar, because a straight jacket is like the trap, you know, that they put prisoners in. But it's also like a straight jacket, you know, like you're straight to cover up. Whew. This album is very clearly inconsistent. The last song had the main takeaway line be, I'm gonna love you till my heart retires, and this song just has a throwaway line in the verse be like a really crazy good metaphor. The switch up with the drums on the outro is also really great. I love it so much because A, it's just cool to listen to, like it's a cool contrast from the rest of the song, but also pairing that with the repeated lines of keep on pretending pretty girl emulates this feeling of persistence. You know, like she's about to go the rest of her life pretending that she's straight. It's kind of like Good Luck Babe. This is the most streamed song on the album, rightfully so, because it's a banger. And it definitely stands out on the track list. You know, the chorus low-key gives me like Charlie XCX vibes, but the verses have like a really warm electric guitar. And I just feel like the jump from those two distinct sounds from verse to chorus works really well. It's like the perfect amount of weird or perfect amount of jarring. All right. Let's talk Tummy Hurts. This is the second most streamed song on the album, and I do not like it at all. I think Renee brings a lot of charisma in the verses. You know, she's giving this like SZA-esque flow that pairs super nicely with the warm electric guitars. I'll admit, okay, it sounds kind of nice, but these lyrics are just a colossal miss, bruh. My tummy hurts, she's in love with her. Basic rhyme. I don't know. I also just like can't help but get icked out by the word tummy. When I hear tummy hurts, I think of like a child that ate too much ice cream. Like, dude, that's the price we all pay. Suck it up. And I'll never get over eventually 2043. Regardless of how smooth Renee is on this song, it's impossible to make that sound smooth. That said, I actually kind of like the end tagline being someone's gonna hurt their little girl like their daddy hurt me. You know, like the repeated cycle of it. I just wish we took a prettier path to get to that point. But again, I feel like I'm being a snob over a song that's probably supposed to be tongue-in-cheek and not that big of a deal. The Coco Jones remix is actually really funny though, because like it has the two of them trading, but they're just saying my tummy hurts. It's like my tummy hurts, my tummy hurts, yeah, my tummy hurts, yeah, my tummy. So yeah, I'm not gonna say it's the worst song on the album because it's not. I'm definitely just being a little extra because everyone loves it so much. It's not for me. I Wish is a really solid song. I have no notes. I'm glad she has a sad song on the album that isn't a power ballad because this is like the first song that feels really small and intimate. And it's a necessary note to hit for the trajectory of the album, I think. It takes a little bit of a different lyrical style too, you know? It feels much more stream of consciousness, and I think that kind of grounds it in a really nice way. It feels like you're reading a journal. You almost get the sense she was just flooded with these feelings one day and just busted out a guitar and started singing, and this is what came out. Of course, you can assume that isn't true because there's 5 writers on this song and Renee's name is last, but still. Leve. Willow's a cool song too, not one that I'll revisit too often probably. The chorus is just so stagnant for me, and I don't really like that style. But the vibe is pretty sick, you know, I really like the robotic feeling harmonies. I think they use a vocoder, but it could just be the harmonies being like that tight that it sounds like one. Feels like a cool callback to the EP. It also uses this kind of sustained xylophone-y sound for like the bass of the instrumentals. And when she gets into her like staccato flow, permission to lay underneath you, that contrast is just really cool. My favorite moments are the ones that feel weirder, you know, that aren't just like basic pop structures. So this is definitely a plus. And the last song, 23, another introspective track to close out the project. Obviously, the EP ended with Bruises, where she talks about how she's 22 now and she doesn't know what she's doing. And I like how this song, titled 23, calls back to that, saying, yeah, it's a year later. I'm still lost. Software update didn't come in yet. Depression wasn't patched. The chorus of this song also kind of comes full circle for the album, I feel like. Because talk too much makes her tendency to overthink feel like a cute little quirk. And as we've pulled back the layers throughout the course of the album, we get closer to the root of that in a more serious way. You know, that's this song. That said, I'm just not a huge fan of the rhyme scheme. I feel like it's a little lazy. Tomorrow I turn 23 and I feel like everyone hates me. I hope that I see 24. I hope I'll understand me more. I hope my bed is off the floor. You get what I mean. And that is the complete standard album. Really quickly, I'll move through the deluxe tracks. Nessie is a banger. Great chorus. Love the way that her vocals are processed on the song too. It's punky, no complaints at all. You know, one of my favorite sounds from her, one of my favorite songs from her. I Do is another really good song. Something about the flow of the lyrics reminds me of Opposite by Sabrina Carpenter. Lyrically, it's up there with some of her best stuff. I love how the verses paint a very clear image without getting like overly wordy. And the 2 different uses of I Do in the chorus is a great way to just round out the entire thing. You don't see us like I do. You don't see us from my view. It's like we're both looking up and I'm under a storm and you're seeing sky blue. That's bars, bro. I'm sorry. The way that she flows on it too is great. When we're saying I love you, I mean it different than you do. Terrified, I always will, even after the day you look at somebody else and you say, I do. First line ended with I do, last line ends with I do. That's good songwriting in my humble opinion. Beyond the lyrics, the chord progression is just really nice. And I love the effort to make a ballad that has such a wide production while also retaining the like delicate tone from her, you know? I feel like when you make a ballad big, your tendency is to go bigger with everything. So it just ends up turning to like Traitor by Olivia Rodrigo. That's the second time I brought that song up. I'm sorry. After Gov Ball, it's just all I think about. Swim is completely forgettable. One of those songs that I just like always zone out during. Every time I listen to this album, that's always the one where I'm like, oh, what? Production is low key and kind of redundant. Vocals are nice, you know, they're soft, and the hook isn't anything crazy. It's very easy to just forget. Honestly, thinking about it, I have no idea what it sounds like at all right now. And Tummy Hurts remix is still Tummy Hurts, so not great, but I guess it's better. You know, I just love Coco Jones' voice. These two great singers were on a song together. How can I complain? And that is a deluxe. In general, I enjoyed this album much more than I did last year. Clearly, it's pretty hit or miss. You know, some of the songs are really great and actually kind of thought-provoking, and some are just basic, shallow, industry plant songs. I'm one that values consistency, so even if there are thematic threads that are connecting all these songs together, things like social anxiety, heartbreak, liking women that aren't straight, liking women that don't like you back, liking women. It feels like there's varying levels of depth and nuance in her perspective from song to song, and it becomes a little jarring, if I'm being honest. Like, she was so deep in her bag in one song, and then she comes back up here to like these cute little surface level thoughts. Obviously, I love her singing, you know. Renee's voice isn't unique, but it's uniquely good, and I hope that makes sense. What I mean by that is she's such a classic tone, but she's also like one of my favorite voices in the music industry because of her versatility and her range. Unfortunately, I do think that's kind of a plague these days, because you combine that with the various different hats that she puts on throughout the course of this album. It's hard to feel like she's doing anything amazingly as an artist. You know, like a jack of all trades is the master of none type deal. People clown on Sour for being redundant, but the truth is, for a debut album, Olivia did a great job at establishing herself in the music industry, setting a foundation of what you can expect from her. I'm not really getting that here, you know? If you look at the credits for this album, each song is written by like a completely different group of people, and it shows. They just feel drastically different from each other, sonically, lyrically, in general. You know, the way they use Renee. Sour was basically just Olivia and Dan, and because of that, there's a cohesion that you get from it, you know? The songs may vary in tone and style, but they all feel like they're coming from the same mind, from the same perspective, the same place. That just isn't the case here, you know? This album feels cut and sewn because it is. There's no consistency to make the overarching listening experience pay off at all. I also think the hooks on this album aren't anything special, but because Renee is the one singing them and the production is for the most part really solid, it'll trick you into thinking that the songs are better than they actually are. And I know that sounds kind of harsh, but I think it's true. There's a few standout tracks and a lot of parts to songs that I really enjoy, but at least 60% of them are pretty calm and forgettable. On the bright side, that's something that could totally change over time. You know, all it takes is one song for Renee to really blow up and maybe have a better grasp on the trajectory that she wants her career to go in. But for right now, it just kind of feels like she's doing everything that she wants to do. Like, let's try this, let's try that, blah, 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 with no real strict agenda, which is kind of a beautiful thing if you think about it. But I also do think it might be a crux for her. I'd probably give Snow Angel a 6.5, which I actually think is lower than I gave it last time, but I've become a much harsher critic since then. All right, so the new single, Leave Me Alone. You look at this album cover, damn. I'm horrified. I think I pissed my pants, bro. She looks so scary. I don't know if it's sad. I don't know if it's happy. I don't know if it's guitars. I don't know if it's bangers, okay? Have not heard it. Ooh! Right out the gate. Okay.
I'm a real bad girl, but a real good kisser. Lips just to match my nipples.
What the fuck?
I'm so sick of it all. Manager called me, said, where's the single?
Okay, we're getting a little meta. That's cool.
Take it off. Cannonball.
Tell you a secret. Leave me alone, bitch. I wanna have fun.
Wow, that was not what I was expecting. Can we go back to that one lyric, please? Even line my lips just to match my nipples. Like, is that like a thing that like women do? I'm so excited for this new album. It's fun, it's meta, it's the distorted vocal effect that I really like. I always end videos like this trying to hone in on what makes an artist so special, what makes them stand out amongst their contemporaries, and what has led to their success. But the truth is, Renee's music doesn't really stand out. I think the reason she's become so famous recently is just for her likable personality and all of her side quests, you know, acting in movies and TV shows. It's almost like her streaming numbers are deflated relative to her actual influence in like pop culture. When I asked a bunch of my other straight guy friends if they knew who RENEÉ RAPP is, some of them were like, yeah, I've heard the name. Others were like, yeah, of course, she's a singer. But none of them could name a song of hers. And I think that goes to show how much her name has preceded her. It's really just a matter of her music catching up to her name. And I want to emphasize, that doesn't doesn't mean that her music isn't good. It just means it doesn't have a specific appeal that's unique to her. Maybe I could pull out a song or two from her catalog and really love it, but there isn't anything that I would go to her for that I can't get from other artists. So because of that, she doesn't really have general audience appeal. At the end of the day, it's really not meant to be that technical. I'm just overthinking it for the sake of the video. And you know, she probably just hasn't had her smash hit yet. Like, as we all know, all it takes is one song for you to establish a huge audience. And maybe that smash hit will be on Bite Me. Hopefully. The cool part about making this video is I get to rank every single one of RENEÉ RAPP's songs because she just hasn't released that many. So here you go. Let me know in the comments what you think about the songs we covered in this video, as well as what your hopes / expectations are for Bite Me. I'm officially back on the grind. You know I took a long break. Just had to deal with like college graduation stuff, and obviously I'm renovating my room right now too, so that's been taking up a lot of my time, but I'm almost done with the room, and then we're back for realsies this time. Okay, this is literally the longest break I've ever taken off YouTube. It's been like 2 months. Subscribe if you're new, maybe like this video.
It would be nice if you left a like, and if you enjoyed, please hit subscribe to join the fam. Become a fan. This vid's over, but I have more planned. Come back next week for a gumball recap video. Shoot that dick.